The morning mist clung to the towering pines like a whispered secret. Marcus wiped the sweat from his brow and set down his axe beside the fallen oak. For 3 years now, he had worked these woods alone, cutting timber for the small mill in town. The solitude suited him well enough, though sometimes the silence felt heavier than the logs he carried. Birds chirped overhead as sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting dancing shadows on the forest floor. Marcus gathered his tools and began the familiar walk back to his cabin. The path wound through moss-covered rocks and fallen branches, a route he could navigate with his eyes closed. That's when he heard it. A soft whimper, almost lost among the rustling leaves. Marcus stopped, tilting his head to listen. There it was again, definitely human. He followed the sound deeper into the undergrowth, pushing aside low branches and stepping carefully over the uneven ground. Behind a cluster of ferns, he found her. A young woman sat propped against a moss-covered boulder, her golden hair disheveled and her clothes torn. One leg was clearly injured, bent at an awkward angle. She looked up at him with eyes that held both fear and desperate hope. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I've been lost for 2 days." Marcus knelt beside her, his calloused hands gentle as he examined her wounded leg. "Easy now," he said in his deep, quiet voice. "You're safe. I'm Marcus. What's your name?" "Elena," she replied, wincing as he carefully touched her ankle. "I think it's broken." "Looks like a bad sprain to me," Marcus said, though his expression remained serious. "We need to get you somewhere warm and dry. Can you put your arms around my neck?" Elena nodded, too exhausted to protest. Marcus lifted her as easily as he would carry a bundle of kindling. She was surprisingly light, and he could feel her trembling against his chest as he began the careful journey back to his cabin. The walk took twice as long as usual. Marcus moved slowly, avoiding roots and rocks that might jostle his injured passenger. Elena drifted in and out of consciousness, occasionally murmuring directions that made no sense. Something about a helicopter and a meeting in Seattle. Marcus's cabin sat in a small clearing, surrounded by vegetable gardens and stacks of seasoned firewood. It was simple but well built, with a stone chimney and windows that caught the afternoon light. He carried Elena inside and settled her on his only couch, covering her with a thick wool blanket. "I'll make some tea," he said, moving to the small kitchen. "Then we'll figure out how to get you help." Elena watched him work, surprised by his gentle efficiency. He prepared the tea with the same careful attention he might give to measuring lumber cuts. When he handed her the steaming mug, their fingers briefly touched, and she noticed how his weathered hands contrasted with her own soft ones. "Thank you," she said, breathing in the herbal steam. "I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't found me." Marcus sat in the wooden chair across from her, his own mug cradled between his palms. "How did you end up so deep in these woods?" he asked. "Most folks don't wander this far from the main trails." Elena hesitated, staring into her tea. She had been running from something, not danger exactly, but the suffocating weight of expectations. The board meeting, the merger, the constant pressure of being Elena Hartwell, heir to a shipping fortune she had never wanted. "I was hiking," she said finally, which was partly true. "I thought I knew the way, but everything started looking the same." They talked quietly as the sun set, painting the cabin walls in warm orange light. Marcus shared stories of the forest, of the changing seasons, and the animals that visited his clearing. Elena found herself relaxing for the first time in months, drawn to his calm presence and unhurried way of speaking. That night, Marcus gave her his bed and slept on the floor beside the couch, claiming he preferred it anyway. Elena lay awake for a long time, listening to his steady breathing and the gentle sounds of the forest outside. 3 days passed before Elena's ankle was strong enough for her to walk with help. During that time, she learned to appreciate the simple rhythm of Marcus's life. She watched him tend his garden, repair tools, and prepare meals from ingredients he had grown himself. There was something peaceful about the way he moved through his days, never rushed, always present. Marcus, for his part, found himself looking forward to their conversations. Elena was different from anyone he had known, educated and well-spoken, but not condescending. She listened to his stories about the forest with genuine interest and helped with small tasks, despite her injury. On the fourth morning, they heard the distant sound of helicopters. Elena's face went pale. "They're looking for me," she said quietly. Marcus nodded, though something in his chest tightened. "Your family must be worried sick." Elena limped to the window, watching the aircraft circle in the distance. "Marcus," she said, turning to face him. "There's something I need to tell you. Something I should have said from the beginning." She took a deep breath. "My full name is Elena Hartwell. My family. We own Hartwell Shipping. I was supposed to be in Seattle for a board meeting when I ran away." Marcus absorbed this information slowly. Elena Hartwell. He had heard the name before, seen it in newspapers at the general store. One of the wealthiest families on the West Coast. "Does it change anything?" Elena asked, her voice small. "Between us, I mean." Marcus looked at her. Really looked at her. The expensive clothes now torn and dirty. The manicured nails now broken from helping in his garden. The careful way she spoke, as if every word might be reported to shareholders. "You're still the woman who helped me weed the carrots yesterday," he said simply. "Still the one who listened to my stories about the old oak grove." Elena felt tears prick her eyes. "I've never been happier than I have been here," she admitted. "These past few days I felt like myself for the first time in years." The helicopters were getting closer now. Marcus could see them through the trees, their rotor wash disturbing the peaceful forest canopy. "You have to go," he said gently. "People are counting on you." "I know," Elena whispered. "But Marcus, could I come back? To visit, I mean, when I can get away from everything." Marcus smiled, the first real smile she had seen from him. "I'll be here," he said. "The forest doesn't change much, and neither do I." They stood together on his porch as the rescue helicopter landed in the clearing, its downdraft scattering leaves and flowers from his garden. As Elena prepared to leave, she turned back one more time. "Thank you," she said, her words almost lost in the noise of the rotors. "For everything." Marcus watched until the helicopter disappeared over the tree line, carrying Elena back to her world of boardrooms and responsibilities. Then he picked up his axe and walked into the forest, where the morning mist was just beginning to lift from the pines, and the only sounds were birdsong and the whisper of wind through ancient trees. But now the silence felt different. Now it felt like waiting.